welcome to this episode. Today, we're diving into a fresh take on leadership that's really gaining traction. Something called servant leadership, especially in the context of AI-driven workplaces.
Yeah, it's a shift that flips the traditional idea of management on its head. Instead of the manager being the boss who commands, this approach puts the leader in a role of support and empowerment. The original concept comes from Modupe Sarrat, who calls it going beyond the boss.
Right, and what's compelling here is that it's not just a new technique, it's a fundamental mindset change. Instead of seeing the manager as the top of the pyramid, this model inverts that pyramid. The manager is actually at the bottom, supporting the team above.
Exactly. And that's more than just a metaphor. It means the manager's real customers are their subordinates. So when something goes wrong, the question isn't, why didn't you do this? But how did I or the system fail to support you? That's a pretty big shift in accountability.
Yeah, it really changes the dynamic. Instead of blaming individuals, the leader looks at how they can remove obstacles. I like the analogy of the manager as the foundation of a building. If the building wobbles, you don't blame the bricks. You check the foundation.
That's a great way to put it. And it ties into the idea of the manager as a roadblock remover. Their mission is to identify what's slowing the team down and get it out of the way. That could be bureaucratic red tape, missing tools, or unclear priorities.
The document suggests a daily question managers should ask, what is the one thing holding you back today that I can fix? That's so practical. It turns the manager into a mechanic or road crew for a high-performance engine, the team.
Yeah, and that's a really action-oriented mindset. It contrasts sharply with traditional oversight, which often focuses on monitoring rather than enabling. Here, the focus is on clearing the path so the team can run at full speed.
Now, to do that effectively, the leader needs a toolkit. The document highlights active listening, not just hearing words, but picking up on frustration or hidden concerns in tone and context.
Right, and that's where the pebble in the shoe concept comes in. Small, recurring annoyances that might seem minor, but actually drain energy and productivity over time. A servant leader notices those and acts before they become bigger problems.
And underpinning all this is psychological safety. Creating an environment where team members feel safe admitting when they don't know something or need help. Asking for help isn't a weakness. It's valuable data for the leader.
That's so important. Without psychological safety, people hide their struggles, which just leads to bigger issues down the line. So the leader's job is to foster that environment where asking for help is encouraged.
So how do we put this into practice? The document talks about a weekly support check-in that shifts the focus from just status updates to conversations about progress, roadblocks, and capacity.
And it's a two-way street. Managers use these check-ins to identify barriers and offer support. But team members also practice managing up by not just reporting problems, but suggesting solutions. That speeds up decision-making and reduces friction.
That's a really collaborative approach. It empowers employees and makes leadership more responsive. It's not just about telling the manager what's wrong, but helping them help you.
Exactly. And this ties into the broader contrast the document draws between two paths to leadership. Traditional management is fear-based, blaming individuals, hiding weaknesses, policing behavior.
Whereas supportive management is development-focused. It builds skills, targets systemic gaps, and celebrates growth. That kind of environment fosters psychological safety and improves morale.
And it explains why traditional management often leads to burnout and turnover, while servant leadership builds resilient, high-performing teams.
The document also outlines 3 pillars of improvement: observational clarity, strategic support, and active coaching.
Observational clarity means identifying what help is needed without blaming individuals. Strategic support is about providing the right training, mentoring, or technology to close skill gaps.
And active coaching involves forward-looking feedback loops that focus on growth and development. So help isn't just telling someone to do better. It's about closing the skill-will gap with concrete support.
That's a crucial distinction. It's a more nuanced and effective way to develop people and teams.
Now, measuring success in this model looks different too. Employee retention improves because people stay where they feel supported and valued.
And teams gain higher autonomy. They can move forward confidently even when the manager isn't in the room. That's a real competitive advantage in today's fast-paced workplaces.
The document calls this the help-first management model, shifting from oversight to empowerment. It's a defining principle of supportive leadership.
So, to wrap up, the core message is that the best leaders serve their teams by removing obstacles, fostering psychological safety, and supporting growth.
And for anyone in a leadership role listening, the challenge is to try one supportive tactic this week. Maybe a barrier removal session or practicing active listening.
Leadership is evolving, and servant leadership offers a powerful model for building resilient, high-performing teams. It's about investing in people, not just managing tasks.
Well said. That's a solid note to end on. Thanks for exploring this with me.
Thank you. Looking forward to seeing how listeners put this into practice.
The goal of good managers is to focus on where workers need help to improve. This kind of management system requires a manager seen as a servant leadership. Servant leadership is a message with confidence and clarity about a fundamental shift in how we look at management. We often think of a manager as a person at the top who gives orders. But the most effective leaders actually operate from a different mindset. Servant leadership for advanced intelligence go beyond just being the boss. It's about moving away from a command and control style and toward a modernization where our primary goal is to render support so our team can truly excel. When we talk about manager from the traditional, we know that power flow from the top down. The workers serve the manager's goal. But as we progress to modernization, which include our diversity to get work done, it is about innovation for invention that is not just from the top down, but also vice versa, from bottom up, that support the collaboration of a team. For our diversity include experience from hierarchy and the experience from those who are the bottom or the people. So the insight to this servant leadership is about the manager see the worker as a customer. Your workers, your subordinate, they are your customer because you need them to get the job done. In the servant leadership, the mentality and operationality need to be combined to make it more workable. Workable is the team. As a manager, you might see yourself that you are the one that actually have to please your customer, your subordinate, in order to get the job done. The system is about getting work done. It's a fix of the manager and the subordinate for cooperation.
Have you here for this episode. Today we're diving into a fresh way of thinking about leadership called servant leadership.
Yeah, it's a really interesting shift. Most people picture managers as the boss at the top, giving orders and calling the shots. But this approach flips that idea completely.
Exactly. The presenter, Modupe Sarrat, talks about how the best leaders actually serve their teams so they can do their best work. It's not about being the boss. It's about supporting the team from the bottom up.
Right, and that's where the idea of flipping the traditional management pyramid comes in. Usually power flows from the top down, and employees work to meet the manager's goals.
But in this servant leadership model, the pyramid is inverted. The manager is at the bottom, holding up the team, so the manager's customers are actually their team members.
I like that. It changes the question from "why didn't you do this?" to "how did I fail to support you?" It's a mindset shift that really changes how managers see their role.
Yeah, and it's not just about mindset. The manager becomes a kind of roadblock remover. Their mission is to find what's slowing the team down and clear the way.
Like those annoying little things. Too many meetings, unclear priorities, or missing tools. The manager's daily question should be, what's the one thing holding you back today that I can fix?
I love that analogy from the document. If the team is a high-performance engine, the manager is the mechanic and the road crew clearing the path.
And to do that well, managers need a toolkit. Active listening is key. Really hearing the frustration behind what people say.
Yeah, and there's this pebble in the shoe idea. Small, recurring annoyances that aren't emergencies but slowly drain energy.
Plus, psychological safety is huge. People need to feel safe saying, "I don't know how to do this," or "I need help," without fear of judgment.
That's so important. Asking for help isn't weakness. It's valuable information for the manager to improve support.
On the practical side, they suggest a weekly support check-in focused on progress, roadblocks, and capacity, not just status updates.
And team members are encouraged to manage up by bringing solutions, not just problems. That way, managers can act faster and reduce friction.
It's a two-way street that speeds up decision-making and builds trust.
Now, when we look at the bigger picture, there are really two paths to leadership. Traditional management is fear-based, blames individuals, and hides weaknesses.
Whereas supportive management focuses on development, fixes systemic issues, and celebrates growth. That leads to better morale and retention.
Exactly. People stay where they feel supported and valued, and teams become more autonomous, moving forward, even without constant oversight.
The core idea is that good managers focus on where workers need help to improve, not just policing or monitoring.
So thinking about your own experience, how would flipping that pyramid change your work life or leadership style?
Yeah, it's a challenge to all of us to shift from being the boss to being the support. Because in the end, supportive leadership isn't just nicer. It's a real competitive advantage.
Absolutely. It builds stronger, more resilient teams that can really excel.
Well, that's a lot to think about. Thanks for exploring this with me.
Thanks for joining. Until next time.
Traditional leadership puts the boss at the top. People serve the manager's goals. I flipped the pyramid. I serve the team. My power is support. Here's the mindset shift. My customers are my people. If something fails, I don't blame them. I ask, how did I fail to support you? Call me a roadblock remover. My mission each day, find the barriers and clear them. Bureaucracy clogging approvals, cut it. Missing tools, fund them. Priorities fuzzy, clarify them. And I ask daily, what's one thing I can fix today to support you? How do I find what to fix? I listen actively, not just the update, but the frustration behind it. I look for the pebble in the shoe, the tiny recurring drag that steals hours. And I protect psychological safety so people can say, I'm stuck without fear. Practically, this means weekly support check-ins, capacity, roadblocks, progress, manage down and up. Don't just report problems, bring a proposed solution, faster decisions, less friction. Traditional leadership blames and hides weakness. Supportive leadership hunts systemic gaps, builds skills, gives resources, recognizes effort. That shift boosts retention, increases autonomy, turns oversight into empowerment. My Help First model runs on 3 pillars: observational clarity, find support needs, not culprits; strategic support, training, mentoring, tech, active coaching; ongoing forward-looking feedback. How do I measure it? KPIs tied to development, skill growth, cycle time, blocker removal rate, retention. Weekly check-ins become barrier removal sessions. We celebrate visible progress, not perfect outcomes. Your move this week: adopt one support tactic. Ask the question, remove one barrier, flip the pyramid, and watch your team move faster without you standing in the way.